Welcome to the Web Design Business Podcast with your host, Josh Hall, helping you build a web design business that gives you freedom and a lifestyle you love.
Hello, my web designer friend. It's so great to have you here, especially if you are interested in taking your web design business full-time, because that's what we're going to dive into in this one. This is actually taken from a recent coaching call I had with a couple members of my community, Web Designer Pro. If you didn't know, Web Designer Pro has tiers, so there's an option to get access to just my courses. You can get access to the community and all of our features there, or the top level right now is the coaching tier. And we have these weekly group calls. You also get access 24/7 access to me for direct message coaching. And these calls that we have every week are generally a mix of live Q&A, reviews, website strategy, and coaching and hot seats. And that's what we do in this one. In fact, the members who you're about to hear from have both gone full-time. Alexia literally just went full-time in her business recently at the time of releasing this. And then Ben went full-time back in December of 2024. So we had a really fun, just kind of round table, loose, casual discussion about full-time, lessons learned, what they've both done well and what they would maybe do differently, all of the above to help you go full-time in your web design business as well. So big shout out to Ben and Alexia for coming up and sharing everything they've learned on the subject and for being kind enough to allow me to repurpose this publicly for you. So again, if you like this conversation and you want to get in on these weekly coaching calls, join Web Designer Pro today. Currently, our coaching tier is at a wait list, but I open up spots every month or 2 months to community members. So all you need to do is to join the community in Web Designer Pro, and then you will be notified as soon as coaching spots become available. So jump on in, and I hope to see you on one of these weekly coaching calls soon. And for now, here's Ben and Alexia. Let's talk about going full-time. All right, Alexia. Good to go, looks like.
Hi, hello.
It's really good to see you. Welcome to the team officially. How has your first month? I'm going to put you on the spot. What's it been like going a year and a half? You commented on a YouTube video, you came into pro, and now you're making graphics for everything that we're doing here.
Yeah, that is like super exciting. One of my highlights of the year, I've got to say, like amazing.
Well, one of my highlights is seeing your work and being like, oh my gosh, I should have worked with Alexia months ago. So I'm really thrilled to have you be a part of it. I mean, we've shown some work off, but people are going to start to see a lot more as we move forward here. So I'm pumped.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I guess that leads me into, I have a major dilemma that I need your advice on, Josh.
Is it a full-time dilemma? Is it a full-time dilemma?
So I'll start with, normally on Tuesdays, I get up, I get ready, I go to work, but I didn't do that today because I went full-time visual vibe.
Oh, you already went full-time.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. I figured this would be in preparation for it. I didn't realize you pulled a bin forward and just freaking went for it before I told you to. Wow. Look at that. Well, hold on. I feel like I need to go get some champagne downstairs or a shot bong for us here, Alexia. We'll get Hans on here. So big.
Already started drinking today. No,
yeah, right. Good for you. Oh, that's freaking awesome, Alexia. Congrats. Digital round of applause. So when did you officially go?
So I feel like I've had the craziest like couple of weeks. Like I don't know, and it's kind of weird. It all started when I got my hair done. I haven't gotten my hair done in like years, and so I got it professionally done. And then after that, it's just like everything fell into place. And I don't know how else to say it, but like I was like, yeah, I'm ready. And you were kind of coaching me a little bit. You're like, I think you're ready for full time. And I'm like, I know you're right. And it kind of put the pressure on me a little bit, but I had kind of like almost trapped, like I was trapped in my mind of like, but like this little, like, it's just the smallest tinge of like security that I was holding on to for some reason. So yeah, I was holding on to that. And then when I decided, I was like, okay, I'm going to go put my 2 weeks in. I talked to my coworker first. Turns out she wasn't working another job anymore. So she was able to take over like my stuff full time. And so I was like, okay, that's awesome. So I go to put in my 2 weeks. And as I'm gearing up in the car, I get a message from you and it says, you're capital ready to go full time. And I was like, I'm taking that as a sign. So I was like, I went in there and I put my 2 weeks, and my boss tried to get me to stay like any way she could, including a 50-cent raise at Christmas. That was her big contribution.
50-cent raise.
Yeah. So that did not entice me, I'll just say. And then I was going to officially be like, do the 2 weeks, but then I was talking to my coworker and she's like, well, I've got the time. Like, I'll just take over your shifts now and then we'll just like do it. So I was able to do that. And then like, just some awesome, crazy stuff happened. Like I was thinking about a guy that was in my BNI group for when I went to like my mom's cleaning business and stuff. I was just thinking about him. And that day that I put in my 2 weeks, like 2 hours later after I did, he texted me and he's like, hey, can you sub for me for BNI? Haven't talked to him in months. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of like, it's like all the things are pointing. And then I got off a call on Friday with a business coach that my hairdresser had like hooked me up with, and she's wanting help. I did like a brand blueprint for her. And so it's $1,200. And then she told me, she's like, well, one thing I don't want this to be is like a one-time thing. Like, and she just casually threw out, she's like, well, if it's like, $1,000 retainer or something like that, just for you to help me like ongoing, like implement this stuff, then that's so cool. And I have a great feeling about her. So I'm so excited. Like, it just feels like everything's working out. And then of course your experience with your retainer has like helped me kind of iron out my processes and made that an option. And then I was also on a call too. And the lady for brand and web design, for a different lady, and she was like, well, that's a little bit higher than what I thought. And then I just got the confirmation today. She's like, actually, we'd love to move forward. Like, we're ready to go. And I'm like, how is this happening to me right now? I feel like on cloud nine.
Oh, you should, Alexia. Well, that's so amazing and well earned too. I mean, I told you prior to everything, you've earned all this success and positive momentum. You've worked really hard over the last year and a half. So to see it all compound for you, number one, I'm not surprised, but number two, I'm pumped for you. And it's just, it's really cool to see, all these seeds that you've been planting and working to get to this point. So gosh, that's amazing. Hold on. I want to grab a picture real quick. Let me change the view on here because this is too cool. Can I post this on social and give you a shout out that you went full time?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Thumbs up. Everybody give a digital thumbs up on Alexia going full time. Oh, that's so awesome. So, I mean, what is interesting, and I think a lot of people who have gone full time will probably say this too. It's like, there is that feeling of holding on to a little bit of security, even if the security doesn't make any sense. Like, and I remember this on a high level. I think a lot of you probably know Pat Flynn. He's an OG in the entrepreneurial space, author, course creator. When he was on the podcast, he told me he neglected going full time because his architecture job was paying him $60,000 a year. And at that time, he was making $25,000 a month with his online business while working full time. So he was only working part time and making $25K per month. But that $60,000 security kept him for months without going full time. And once he went full time, that's when things skyrocketed. So all that to say, like, get ready because now it's really going to skyrocket with, how many hours were you working?
Yeah, I was working. So kind of a little bit of a story. And of course I'm a yapper, so cut me off if you need to. But so I was working 3 days a week. And then like I went to WDP Con and I was so, oh my gosh, like that experience I felt like lit the rest of the year because like, I'll just say I was in a period where I didn't want to like wake up in the mornings and go to work and would, take time and just like sleep on the weekends because I just didn't want to, I wasn't excited for life. And that kind of followed my bad client experience. And so I kind of got shook up a little bit there. And then when I went to WDP Con, I was like, as being in a room full of people that are like high achievers that are doing so much like more revenue than me, that are so much farther in their businesses. Like I felt kind of like little bit in the best way, like that there were so many possibilities out there. And so I came back and I immediately wanted to quit. I was like, how can I make this happen? But then I slowly kind of stepped back into like, well, you need this security, you need this thing. And so I kind of got a little bit down again. But then just the transition of how everything happened, it just like, I thought I would feel worried. I thought I would feel stressed. I don't feel stressed. I don't feel worried. And it's kind of like a weight of somebody else's business is off of my back, because I did a lot for my boss. And so that weight has been lifted. And like when I put in my 2 weeks, I woke up at 5 a.m, no alarm, no nothing, like got ready. I was dancing and singing in the kitchen. And that's when I was like, okay, so this has changed. Like, I feel happy about life again.
Gosh, that's so awesome, Alexia. Well, I mean, I can't say it enough. Congrats. You're getting lit up in the chat with so much congratulations for you. So, I mean, the big thing is with confidence in going full time, some people do it in a way that like, you know, Ben's here. Ben went full time and I was like, oh, you went way sooner than I, would probably recommend, but he's killing it. You, I think you're in a point to where you have enough pipeline and retainer work, and obviously like a pipeline of leads that I would imagine probably added the confidence. I say that to say, like, you didn't just jump off hoping it would work out. It's like, it's clear as day. It's working out just fine. Now you actually have the time to fulfill stuff.
Yeah, I feel like I have a crazy amount of confidence that everything's just going to work out moving forward. And yes, there's going to be like low periods and high periods, but I've ridden that wave for a year. So I feel confident in that. And then just a lot of like the website projects that I've been doing, I've been spacing them out for 6 months so that I have that reoccurring revenue coming in. So I feel more secure about that. Like the reoccurring revenue has now matched over what I was making at my job. So.
That's amazing. Yeah. Cause I mean, wasn't it like $1,200 a month that was basically holding you to that job? Something around
that? It was like, I mean, I was getting paid like $16 an hour for like 2 days a week. So that's not even like nothing. And I don't know why it held me there for so long. Like, again, like I think you said it was Pat Flynn, or who was your 60,000 a year?
Yeah. Pat Flynn. Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't make any sense, but it was there. And I was on a weekly hangout a few weeks ago, and they kind of walked me through. They're like, so you don't, like, it's not the money that's holding you, like it's something else. And so they they helped me out. I know Lisa was there, Judah, Louise, Christian was there, and they kind of walked me through it. And they're like, girl, it's not the money that's holding you back. It's something else. And I figured it was that little piece of security. But then since I've done, I feel fully secure in my business, which is crazy, but
that's amazing. Great plug for the weekly hangouts, by the way, guys.
Yeah. Like, it helps so much.
I can't recommend enough that you guys dip into the weekly hangouts. It's something I need to do a better job at promoting, but they're not recorded. They're loose and casual, but that's the kind of thing that's happening there. Like, you get a small group and you can talk through stuff like that. Oh, that's awesome, Alexia. I'm so pumped for you. It is interesting that there is, I think it's more about a mental, there's a mental security block for most everybody, especially if you've had a job for a long time. Going out on your own gives you full ownership, which is amazing and freeing, but also more responsibility. So there's like an added level of responsibility to where when you have even a small income coming in this quote unquote stable, there is something that you have to like break free to get past that. But you did it. Like, I'm so freaking pumped for you.
Yeah, I was so excited. And I was like, I remember when I told you that October 1st was my deadline. And I was like, I'm telling you, once I may take a while to make a decision, but then once I make a decision, it's like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed about myself.
And by the way, Emily said, I'd love to do the weekly hangouts. It's tricky in UK time. Yeah. The one thing we have explored is maybe doing like one earlier call, especially for the UK folks, and then the afternoon call. So Emily, we'll talk about that here, follow up on that, see if we can get a UK friendly time. I'm curious, Ben, would you like to pop up and join the chat on this? Because it'd be kind of fun to talk to Ben, who is 8 months since going full time. And Alexia, when did you go full time officially, Alexia?
Last Thursday was my last
Thursday. So
like 3 days into
3 days full time. So 3 days full time. Ben, let me know if you're in a place where you'd like to come up. If not, totally, it's okay, cool. He's down. So we're gonna have some fun today, guys. We're gonna do a very different call today, but this is kind of something I want to do with the coaching calls more, is move it more towards conversational, high level strategies, all kind of stuff. So, get ready, because we're going to have some new fun on the coaching calls, just like we're about to have with a little group call, because we've got Ben now. Good to see you, Ben.
Hey, is my video working?
No,
Mm-mm.
that must be a circle thing then. If
Son
it's
of a bee sting. Okay, hang on.
okay,
Yeah,
how did
leave and then come back in, and it put me right in.
awesome. So
Leave
we'll
the
see.
meet. Oh, leave the
meeting and then come back in, and it like put me right in it.
Okay.
We'll wait for you, Ben. Let's see if that works. Yeah, and it actually brought you right back up, Alexia. So I think when Ben comes back, it should just bring him back up. My gosh, so awesome. I thought for sure we were going to be mapping out your 2 weeks notice, but it already happened. Hey, there's our troubleshooting tip of the day for Circle. Just leave and come back in if the video's not working.
It said you have to rejoin as a co-host. So
Yeah.
maybe that's something that they've got going on.
That could be. Well, Ben, what I'm going to totally put you on the spot, but I know you like being on the spot. So thanks for popping up, man. What advice do you have for Alexia, you know, being that you're not too far removed from the feelings of going full time and the ups and downs? What should Alexia be prepared for over the next few weeks?
I wish I had like really sage, wise words to offer here. But I guess what I'll say is that your hair is probably not as on fire as you think it is. And so like you don't have to run around like crazy, you know, get your bearings, go touch some grass, and just kind of recognize that, yeah, it's a big challenge. Like you're responsible for yourself now in a big way, but break it down into as little chunks as possible. I like Josh's like budget planner because it forces you to think about project-based, you know, sales. Like, okay, I got to close this many sales in this month to do this thing. You know, that kind of a plan all of a sudden makes it not as scary. You don't have to boil the ocean. You can just get started on taking that first step.
Yeah, and that's the revenue calculator that Ben's mentioning. I'll put that in the chat for anyone who hasn't checked that out. Go map out. Thank you to Alexia because she spruced up the revenue calculator with the branding. So check that out to give you some confidence. Now, it's interesting, though, because, you know, Ben and Alexia had very different stakes going full time because Ben, father of 4, husband, a lot more, you know, financially riding on him in the way of like his support system. Alexia, you picked a great time to go full time because you have a little bit of like freedom in that sense of where you can do a little more exploration probably and not have, you know, some of the stress that folks have when we, you know, have a support system behind us. But Ben, you know, you're still killing it, man. You've been a little quiet, which means I'm guessing you've been pretty busy.
Very busy. Yeah, I was glad that I was able to join today because I've missed the last few. It's just you know, better than the alternative. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. So, well, I want to like I don't know, you know,
Alexia, I just thought of one piece of advice that's like tangible. Mm-hmm. If you haven't taken the scaling course, do the entire scaling course, start to finish. Watch it and then go back and just kind of rewatch it and frame things to where you're at, because I did not go into I thought I would be all on my own for years before I would need to onboard, and maybe it's because I am at a different phase in life, but I hit that wall like as soon as I got 3 projects at the same time, just because there was no time, at least not to be responsible, you know, responsibly handle it. So get prepared to hire people and bring on consistent help, because the faster you do that, the faster you can take a seat as more of the strategist and the you know, directing the activities of everything.
That's amazing. And I just want to say, like, that advice came at a really good time because given the influx of what I'm doing, I'm not quite ready to hand anything over and hire yet, but
yeah,
it's something that as I'm going to be working with this coaching client, she's wanting to do more things, more operational than just like tech things. We've already talked about like, well, yeah. And she's scaled teams and stuff before. So she was like, yeah, if we need to like find somebody and put it in place, like, I just want you to be more of the strategist and help me piece everything together and figure out things there. So I think I'm going to have like a wide scope of doing that in her business so that I can do that in mine as well. So yeah, that came at a really good time.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Well, and there's this resistance to it, right? Because you're like, there's no way I can justify this. I'm not busy enough. I just have to, I think this is just grind time. I need to work, you know, 24 hours a day, and it's not sustainable. So as I felt myself going down in a blaze of glory, I hired somebody, and now I'm less freaking out.
Hey, Ben, can you?
But I wouldn't have been able to do that without the scaling course. I'd been frozen. Seriously, the scaling course, just do it.
I'm going to clip that and use that as a testimonial. Thank you, Ben. By the way, Ben was not paid to rave about the scaling course. You guys all have access to it anyway here in Pro. So
I'm a non-attorney spokesperson.
Yeah. But yeah, Ben, thanks for mentioning that, man. I mean, I think I do think it's interesting because the idea of scaling, I think a lot of people immediately think agency owner, overhead, payroll, but that's not the case. Like you can scale micro parts of the business. You can scale like one project could be scaling just to get some help. So I do love that reminder, Ben, because what happens I've seen with a lot of people who go full time is because you have 20, 30, 40 hours extra a week to devote to your business, you go so much further, so much faster. But that leads to a whole new slew of challenges when all those seeds that you've been planting compound. Because Alexia, heads up, you're at a place where like the momentum is cooking right now. And then if it doesn't stop, if the momentum doesn't stop, you're not gonna be able to do graphic design work for us. And I'm going to be, pressed about that. So we need to make sure you're ready.
Josh, I will always make time for you. Okay.
Woo. All right. You heard it here.
I put it in the chat, but I think it's worth re-mentioning. I think one of the biggest things I've learned is that there is this like barrier that you have to overcome to put the stakes of your own livelihood on yourself when you've been conditioned to rely on an external employer. You're like, yeah, I'll just get a different job, or I can go do this. And you can always like, you leave it as this fallback thing. Yeah, I'll try it, but I'll get a job when I fail. And you have to switch your mindset to this thing that like, hell yeah, I'm on my own because I can do better for myself than anybody else can. And the thing that you do pick up in the scaling course isn't like, here's the stepwise process to hire somebody. It's how do you set yourself up for that next evolution? Right now, what types of things do you need to think about yourself? What do I like? What do I have a team? Like I am my own team. So what things do I want to hand up? And just having that thought process like baked into going full time, doing that scaling course at that time just gets you set up in the right frame of mind so that when it is time to scale, you've already done that work. You don't have to like freak out and really quick stay up all night watching Josh's scaling course. It's just kind of already there, and you'll make mistakes and you'll do stuff the wrong way or whatever, but that's part of it. So yeah, that's the last thing I'll say.
Well, I wanted to kind of ask Alexia, like it's, I don't want to put too much pressure on you to, feel like you have a clear vision already. You just went full time literally 3 days ago, but I'm kind of curious, like even brand new feeling full time, do you feel like, are you in like vision mode? Are you in vision casting mode for you as a business owner? Where are you at right now having, just made the leap? I mean, you're kind of like still like falling down, like you made the jump, but what's vision like for you now?
Straight just partying all the time, getting no work done. Like that's my mode. No. So the first thing, it's so like, I'm telling you, I'm taking all these as signs because it's all happening so like crazy, like together. But the first thing that I was thinking about as I was going full time, I'm like, how can I outsource the things I don't like to do more of the things I do like? How can I outsource some of the parts of my business, like maybe SEO or website development, to where I can still design and do the things I love, but I can scale those high ticket services that can be done by other team members, like SEO. So that's one thing that I'm like, okay, well, how can I do that and build up that part to where I'm not constantly having to have my hand in it? Because I am particular about my design stuff, as Josh knows. But things like SEO and some of the technical things, I'm not as like, I have to make sure this is pixel perfect type thing. So I've been thinking about how can I scale those services to give me a cushion to where I can do the stuff that I love, which is design and some of the strategy stuff. So yeah.
That's great. I love that you have that mindset out of the gate. That's huge. Because you are like, I think one of your value propositions to Alexia is that your attention to detail and your craftsmanship in your work is something that, you don't want to, you don't want to hire that out. I love that, you already know there's a bunch of stuff that you want to focus on and be the lead on and don't want to give up any control on, especially right now, which is awesome. And then the other stuff, yeah, absolutely. You can get some help on, just like Ben talked about.
And there's so many specialists here. Like I learned pretty quickly I don't want to have anything to do with SEO. It just doesn't do anything for me. And so I just called Sam and was like, hey, I want to offer local SEO because there's money in it, but I don't want to do it local SEO. I just don't want to. And so he and I worked out this white label arrangement. I still have to send him the first client, but it's a thing when if I want to offer local SEO, I can do it. Take my part for running the communications, but Sam and his team would do it. And you can copy that with Christian's custom development. And, I've used all sorts of pros. So not just you, but, everybody.
I think maybe it might be interesting. I don't think Alexia is going to have quite the dip or the feelings of dread, Ben, that you had, where it's like the 2 or 3 weeks after you go full time, and you're like, oh my God, what I do? Only just because Alexia's job wasn't, at the point where like your business was making way more than your job was coming in. So it was almost a no brainer. But like Ben, you told me, and I think you were public about saying, like, as we all often do when you make a big decision and you're like, oh my God, what I do? Can you speak to that dip? What got you through? Because maybe Alexia will have a feeling of some sort, maybe not, it's not that extreme, but I guess the question is, how did you get through the inevitable once the high, subsides and you're like, or you get to the boring part of the work when you just got to do the work? How did you get through that dip?
Yeah, good question. I think there was just it was just kind of an initial freak out. Like, oh God, what did I just do? I have 4 kids and a wife, and I just gave away my entire livelihood. But it was it was short-lived, because I think what I did was just focused on bringing clients in. So that first month of January, I just had so many meetings with people because I was just shamelessly setting up time with people wherever I could find them. I joined BNI, hit the one-on-ones really hard right away. And just those conversations, talking to other people who are business owners that I could be working with, and they could be working with me for stuff. It's like a confidence boost to meet other people who are like you, have the same goals, and basically finding commonalities to say, oh yeah, I know that feeling, but don't freak out, you'll be good. So just having other people say, you can do this, and then jumping up and doing it. I think that's the thing. It's kind of like a different version of the advice that my older brother gave me when I went to college. He's like, don't dive into this feeling like you got to have it all figured out. Your first couple semesters, take classes you're interested in, dive in to explore your curiosity, and then go to those classes. And it was the second part that I struggled with. So I think that, like, it's the same thing. It's like, celebrate being by yourself, enjoy like the freedom that you've now got, recognize the work that needs to get done, and then like go freaking do that work.
I love that so much. I'm learning so much. I love this so much.
Well, what's so great too is, Alexia, you alluded to it a little bit ago, coming to the conference, it was like you felt like you were in the house of greatness with so many web designer pros who are at a certain level. But on all seriousness, I think that you can't help but be like, look what's possible. Like, all I need to do is commit to it and then figure it out from there. Because I think everybody's at a place where if you commit to it, sounds super cheesy, but you can make anything happen. You really can. So it's so cool to see you. Like, I saw those seeds being planted, and then this, the last 6 months or so, just kind of work through where you're at. And then, all the work that you did compounded to this point to, again, have a no-brainer, jumping off point. But it is cool to see. I feel like there was definitely a before and after version of you, before and after ProCon.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I loved the whole experience. I'm so like, I'll be the first person to buy a ticket for next year. But being in like, when I used to go to work, surrounded by just like, it was me and my boss, and it was just like in a business that really wasn't going anywhere. She was on the tail end of retiring, so there's no momentum there. There's no excitement. It was just kind of, and it was in insurance as well, so it's just like super boring, not my jam. But then like I'm not around entrepreneurs other than, pro, and then being in person with everybody and like going into a room where I felt like everyone was miles ahead of me, but in the best way. Like I never felt like I was like inadequate or anything. I was just like, oh my gosh, if they're here and they can do this stuff, I can do it too. And I'm like looking up to everybody and taking little pieces of advice here and there. Like, I mean, it was just, the whole experience was amazing. And it really set my mindset of like being around a group of entrepreneurs who want to be high achievers, that want to grow their business, that want to do better. Is, I can't even express, just being in that room and being around people that are high achievers like that it's like unmeasurable. Like the difference between like even your vibe changes. So yeah.
Gosh, that's so true.
I think
that's awesome. Sorry, you just got me buzzing. I'm like, that's got to go on the event page for next year, just because that you nailed the power of that. And we have the digital version here in Pro, which is like people are at different levels, but you see people make such fast progress, like Alexia. I mean, Ben, you and Alexia just a couple years ago, a year and a half ago, were newbies, complete newbies. But I think the power of what we have in Pro is you're able to make such fast strides. This is also, by the way, one reason why I'm really big on, like, I don't have a minimum, like you need to make a certain amount to come into Pro. And this is why, like, you guys are both shining examples of, you went from builders, like complete newbies, to growing, and now you're both scaling. Like Alexia is going to be scaling in 3 months. Mark my words, Alexia will be scaling by the new year for sure. No doubt.
Oh, don't put pressure on me. It
pressure.
It totally worked with my 2 weeks.
No, the pressure will come to you. You don't have to worry about that.
No, I'm just calling what I see. I got a pulse on this stuff, and I'm telling you, Ben nailed it. Go through that scaling course while you have some time, just to be ready for the influx that's going to happen. But no, I really appreciate you guys both. This is just, it's awesome. And anyway, Alexia, do you have any questions for Ben, since he's, I don't know. I do.
I kind of have one. Ben, are you doing more custom work now? Or are you doing more with the is it special disease, or like how would you?
Yeah, like a rare disease thing.
And how has that affected your business? Are you doing like have you preferred doing that because it's more scalable and more like your target audience and stuff, and you can make those sites quicker? Is that how you're able to scale so fast? Tell me about it.
That's a great question. I think this is something I was going to pitch to Josh about a future podcast once I get my life together. But it was like my idea when I was going through this was, I can do custom websites for local small businesses. I love doing that. I love learning about people's marketing, their strategy, their challenges, and just helping them represent themselves better online. And so I love doing that. But I also spent like 15 years working in this rare disease space, and I have these relationships, and those folks desperately need help representing themselves better online. So I have Forward Web Design, and then I had this other brand called ZebraSite Studios, and that was going to be this rare disease thing. This was going to be subscription model. This was going to be more traditional. And it was like my strategy to build recurring revenue while also having these other things. And the thing I didn't account for was that there's not two of me. I basically started two businesses. And so it's like decent strategy, hard to parse out on your own. So I have been scrambling to kind of, and scrambling is the right word to use. I've been trying to get the ZebraSite template and thing built out to the point where it's much more Jason Grazia style. I'll be at the thing on Thursday because I want to see just soup to nuts how he has this all pieced together. And I will be essentially changing my offer on that sales page to just be, this is the ZebraSite. This is what you get. And I have my content snare already set up for ZebraSite. So it's like homepage, put your blocks of text here, upload your photos here. And it is just going to be, the selling point is you're going to have your website in like 2 weeks, and it's going to be bomb. It's going to work because I know it works, and you're going to have all this other stuff. And so I've been trying to templatize that. So I think maybe the best answer to your question is, I want to get to a point where, yes, that's much more like, here's a solution that's going to work for you in this niche. And then I outsource that to a person that doesn't exist yet. And I'll be hiring someone. They'll do all of those things. They'll also do management of my monthly care and support clients. And then that would free up me and then my full-time developer, Penn, that we can put much more of our energy into the local, bigger projects, custom jobs for small businesses. And so, yeah, the strategy was always there, but the execution has been this like really tough moving target.
That is so much good information to know. And I 100% like, it's funny. I've been thinking about a templatized sort of offer because again, I pour so much just energy and love and design and time, most of all time, into my custom work. So how can I take that and kind of templatize it? And I know as I was thinking about this, Josh came out with a newsletter, you have to earn new. And I'm like, well, shoot, I haven't earned.
You've earned new. You've earned new. You don't need to work. You don't need to do something for a decade to do something new. You're
but I have the idea, but I put it on the back burner, but it's how can I take my skills and what I have and templatize it for a niche market, similar to that, because as I'm growing, like when I first started freelance, I'm like, I just want to be like the best designer. I want to be like, known for my work and all this stuff. But now I'm kind of getting in the mode where it's like, I want to make some money. Like I want to make some money, to where I don't have to, where it's a revenue stream where I'm not constantly having to be the person doing the stuff. And that's a big change that I've made. Just like when I joined Pro, I was like, oh, I'm going to be the best designer. I'm going to be the freelance. Like I'm only going to do my stuff and my name's going to be on it. But I'm thinking more and more like, how can I templatize this to make the most money so I can truly be an entrepreneur and not just a freelancer or just a small business owner? Like I have big picture goals of myself. And so how can I achieve that?
I think for you, Alexia, where you are at in the market with being such a good designer, so good at creating brand style guides and literally, just getting the visual vibe down, that could be the more custom aspect from what I see for you, especially for a while, which is where you spend a lot of time investing in clients. And like you did with me, you really get a sense of like, what's the goal of this? What's your vibe? And in creating these assets that then go to the templatized stuff. So I could actually see for you, the bulk of your like creativity and your custom work isn't necessarily in the actual literal design of sites, like the functionality. It's in the branding and the design overall. And then you have your visual vibe site, which is like the framework. And then you take the assets. Then we take the button styles and that gets translated to the website. And as we all know, if somebody has really good branding, it makes the web design way easier because you've already got copy, you've already got assets, you've already got design styles, already got font colors, typography. It's all nailed down. So I think for you, you're actually really primed to have a templatized site, even if it's not niche specific. But you invest in more of the branding and design side. I think that could work out really well for you for a while.
Definitely. And I don't want to say my idea because I have been working on it a little bit on the side, but it does combine those elements. It does combine some of the pieces of the industries I've already worked in. And so I know what they need, and it combines branding, websites, and SEO. So so having all of those, because again, if you get them on like a templated thing, I want them reoccurring. I don't just want it to be a one-time they buy this. I want it to be on a reoccurring basis. Yeah. So like a subscription model, just like Ben has. So I've been thinking more about that.
I think that the can you guys still hear me? I'm getting an error.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay. I think the thing that I learned too late was to really think about pricing. Like think about pricing twice as much as you think you need to think about pricing. It's because when you have a service you're offering, it's more abstract than when you're offering a product. And to offer the product, you have to be able to represent it well enough to get the money. And so it's kind of the difference between like running into somebody who needs, who needs a hole dug. You can sell them a shovel and be like, this makes holes. Or you can say, I will dig you a hole and it's going to cost this amount. Or you can say, you're going to wind up with a freaking swimming pool. that swimming pool is going to cost so much more than the hole in the ground, and the hole in the ground is going to cost so much more than the shovel. But you have to figure out where those value marks are, like where are the ticks, and realize that you don't really get to decide that. All you get to control is what the offer looks like. And then the people, your customers, are going to tell you whether or not it's worth what you're asking for. And so I think it's always easier to go down in price than to go up. And so I just intentionally have been setting things a lot higher than I thought I would need to, because it never fails that there is going to be some kind of ongoing project expense that will eat into your profit. So think about pricing a lot.
And real quick, speaking of pricing, Dylan had asked, can you charge more for a template since it will reduce your project time? Absolutely. And the reality is, something that you can bust out faster with a proven process is honestly even more valuable because you get it done faster. And serious business owners want stuff done as quickly as possible. Like if you gave somebody the option, would you like to get this done in 7 days or 7 weeks? 7 days is going to be much more appealing than like a long drug out 3-month process. So absolutely. Those like productized websites, as much as you can, even more so. They're more valuable, even if it's for you, a template, quote unquote.
Yeah. I think for you, Alexia, it's a matter of trying to make sure that you're doing the best thing for you. You can templatize things and give yourself the sense of security that's there, but you also will lose the degrees of freedom to customize and be the creative person that you are. And so the question kind of becomes, do I drill down to this and make it a productized offering that is like something that I know can execute on? Or do I just need to charge a shitload more for the awesome custom work that I'm doing and make the same amount of money and really get to like flex my creative muscle? That's why you got into it in the first place. And so it's like I would not recommend starting a subscription-based brand and a regular-based brand at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm actively trying to talk you out of that, but I am trying to talk you into just making sure that you understand where the trade-offs are and put your own personality preferences and all of that first, because at the end of the day, that's what people interact with. That's what people see is you. So make sure that whatever the decision you make is going to contribute to your overall happiness and stuff as a business owner.
Yeah, and I agree. And I would actually say that with the route that I would want to go, it wouldn't be either or, it would be both, to have this productized type offer and then raise my custom rates. And if you want custom, then you could always transition over from my templatized offer to custom, and it would be worth more. There's more value there working one-on-one with me. Again, not wanting to like drum up a website and a landing page tomorrow for this. It's just something that I had been thinking about as I'm moving more into business owner instead of designer or freelancer, looking at it more of a business thing, which I hadn't really done before. Like I was always like, oh, I'll be the best designer, I'll be this, but it's more of, okay, how can I make money, be taken care of, know that I have those different income streams so I can eventually do whatever I want, whenever I want, because I have that as a back,
For sure.
The freedom.
Yeah, and I still really like, you're in a great spot, Alexia. I don't want to, throw too much at you all at once, because I want you to enjoy the season, going full time and everything. But I do feel like you can productize within your suite of services. Ben had 2 separate businesses. Ben, we all know Ben's a wild man. He's going to dive head first in the deep end without any swimming lessons. He's just that kind of guy. Luckily it's worked out, but like Ben
with
said,
concrete, with rocks in my pocket.
Rocks in his pockets. Take the rocks out, Ben. But he had 2 separate businesses. I think for you, from all that, you can still productize within your suite of services. So one thing I'll say too, when it's one client and one project, you don't need to go fully custom on everything. The beautiful thing about doing branding and getting the visual vibe first, and which I think is going to happen for you, Alexia, with a lot of your projects.
90%, yeah.
So you start out with branding and design, productize everything else, because like I said earlier, that's your custom. That's what lights you up. I can sense it working with you. You love like helping a brand. You can't help yourself but come up with all these new ideas. And it's amazing for me as a client now of yours. It's just so weird. Like now I'm a client, but also, it is cool because I have a unique perspective working with you. I can say for your future clients, they love that. Like you're a part of their business. You're coming up with these brands. If you present it to me, we can make a website out of everything we already created. It's our visual vibe system. You get it in a week, and we'll take everything we've done in your branding. We'll take care of everything for you. We've already got half the copy, so we just need this and this and this, and we'll take care of your websites up in a week. Sign me up if I'm a client. Now, if I wanted something super custom, larger site, that's where you have your custom rates. But I think if you had like a website in a week model, which is basically a website in a day, it's based off of your template, based off a brand you've already done. And whether it's subscription or one time, I think you'll be gold with all that. So I know we'll have some time over the coming weeks to really kind of flesh out your new suite of services or your offers, but you're in a really good spot to be able to mix all that with both custom and productized.
I love that. And that's so crazy that you're saying that, because I have been because I have my whole Figma files of all the websites I've done. So I've been going through and like, hey, there's like 5 different good ways to do a hero section. So I'll have all those, and then I can just take them, piece them together, and then add the design onto them. And that's what I'm doing. Same with like footers and things like that. That it's just like, okay, how many different ways can you do a footer before it's not that big of a deal? So I have been taking some inspiration from that. Like this whole conversation is just like right in line with everything.
No, that's great. I think you're primed, poised, and ready for a more templatized website offer, because I still view you as a brand. I don't know what to call you yet. I know you're probably working that out too, but like I don't view you as a web designer necessarily. And I don't mean that, disrespectfully at all. Like that's
what do you mean, Josh?
Oh,
I'm a web designer pro. I'm a pro.
But you're actually like brand designer pro. That's kind of actually what, because Alexia is eventually going to start brand designer pro because she has aspirations of having a community one day. So that's like, I say all that to say like, yeah, templatize your website stuff as soon as you can. Because your superpower is the brand and the vibe and everything. But obviously that's a huge part of the web design. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see what happens here. All right, guys. Well, this was a blast. This was one of my favorite coaching calls. We will be doing more of this for sure. Any final thoughts from Alexia? I appreciate you guys both coming up for this impromptu podcast chat. Basically, we're definitely going to repurpose some of this. This has been great.
Yeah. First, I want to say thank you, Ben. Like being able to kind of pick your brain a little bit and hear advice from you that, it's not like Josh that's been doing this for so many years. You're kind of new in it, but you're enough steps ahead of me to where it's like, hey, I've made some mistakes or this has happened. So hearing your perspective from that, I always like to grant that access. And then Josh, who's been doing this for forever, hearing your advice. So taking both of those and incorporating it in my own way, like I'm so excited. Like I feel like a new leash on life. Like I'm all over the place. I have this crazy delusional confidence now.
Oh, there's no delusion there. That's real confidence right there. No delusions at all.
I think my last word, first of all, a huge shout out to my wife, because I can only take credit for, probably 25% of what's happened in life here this year. So she has been a tremendous support. So I would be absolutely remiss if I didn't mention that. I'd be homeless right now. And the other thing is, I think I've unintentionally, and no offense to you, Josh, I think I've begun in some ways to like take Web Designer Pro for granted as a part of just how I work now. Because it's like, okay, yeah, it's a thing that I joined and it's a community and stuff, but you guys are like my coworkers. And it's like a connection where if I'm having a problem, I'll like hit somebody up with a DM and we'll get on a Zoom meeting and like just hash some stuff out, get back, go back to work. There are people, there's a Daniel Mediger and I meet every other Friday morning and just like hash out what's going on because we're kind of at similar stages. And so I would also be remiss if I like had this whole conversation with you guys and didn't mention just like the value that Pro has, because that's like I without a doubt would not be doing this. Without a doubt. No way in hell would I be doing this.
No offense
100%.
taken. That's amazing, Ben.
Yeah, 100% to piggyback off that, like just pro in general. It feels like coworkers, like, oh man, that was the perfect analogy. Getting like help going through the different stuff. And I mean, even Josh, your courses are great, but I'm telling you, the community and the coaching is the best part of pro. Like, no doubt. The DMs, the conversations, the coaching like this, like I can't thank it enough. And it's something that I don't think other people that if they were to try to do a carbon copy of what you do could do what you do with pro either. So that's like your USP, like you're unique in that offer, and the people here are unique with they're willing to give without like just being a part of the community. So, and it's hard to find anywhere else.
Yeah, for sure. And Josh, I think your coaching style too is a lot like where there's just the honesty behind it.
Yeah.
Where like this halfway through the year, I did my mid-year finances, and I was kind of like, what? And I like put it all together and sent it to Josh, and Josh looked at it and was like, yeah, man, I think you're good. I mean, depending on where you're at, I think you're probably good. You got a plan, just do the plan. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. And all of a sudden, it felt like I was back on the horse. Like, oh, okay. And that's what you need out of a coach. I have no doubt that Josh would have been like, oh, yeah, shit, you should probably go pick up some bartending shifts. Like, that was the case. But, just knowing that he's got like an independent, objective head on his shoulders to tell you whether or not you're making the right steps, invaluable.
There's also a sense of, I think I've been doing this long enough, especially being in more of a mentor coaching role with pro, to where I have a pretty good sense for people, and I can tell, like, I think you should, like, take your time, go slow, don't make any rash decisions. And then there's people who I'm like, I think you're fine, just go for it. Like with Ben, like I knew, like, even numbers weren't where you wanted them to be halfway through the year. I realized, like, you've got all the makings of what you need to do. You just need to keep on doing it. And you were just at a place where the first 6 months of going full time and building your business, is very trying. But I think already you've probably seen like things compound in different ways, and you have a lot of expenses up front that you don't have later on. You do less learning and more implementation once you get to a certain point. So for all those reasons, I'm like, you're fine. You're totally fine. With Alexia, it's like, why are you holding on to this $1,200 job? Like, get the heck out of here. You can make $5,000 a month of retainers tomorrow if you wanted to.
He was literally like, I think you're ready. Like ... And then the next text was like, you're ready to go full time. Like, I can't say it enough. Like, it's almost like you were trying to say it nice the first time, and the second time you're like, okay, like, get it through your head, girl.
Yes. Oh, guys, this is awesome. Well, I tell you what, while you're both here, if you want to hang out with me, I don't know if you either one of you have to go, feel free.
I don't have a job to go to.
That's right. Alexia is free as a bird now.
Yeah, my boss suddenly doesn't really care what I do for the next half hour. So
yeah, same.
So Dylan is about to go to his first BNI meeting. We talked. He posted about what he should expect on BNI groups. Ben, you've got some BNI experience.
Yeah.
Any advice?
I've been in BNI since January, and my chapter's got about 35 people in it. And you show up, and the premise is you've got a whole bunch of people who have their own networks, and if they get to know you, then your message all of a sudden is amplified like exponentially. But that does not happen or like automatically. The first few months I was in BNI, I just like hit what they call the one-on-ones, where you just meet with people outside of the BNI meeting and get to know them. I just did a ton of those, probably 3-4 a week, just meeting people for coffee or lunch and getting to know them and what they do. And I think the best BNI advice I got was actually from somebody here in Pro, where they said, like, when you join, there will be a period of time before you do your first presentation and officially, talk through what you do as a group. You're like, before you get to that, meet with everybody in the group and shut up about yourself unless asked. Like you should learn everything you can. And if you can send referrals to people, then start sending them. And then when you get the chance to get up in front of everybody and say, I'm Ben and this is what I do, they'll know what's going on. And if you've already helped them steal some business or help them with some leads, much more likely to have them take what you're saying and run with it. And then future one-on-ones after that are a lot more productive.
Yeah, and I know.
And I was just going to say, I think the biggest thing with BNI is like, think about what you would ask another business owner to listen out for when they're doing their thing, so that they know what to tune their ear to refer you. So like with my one-on-ones, I've started just saying, hey, if you're talking to somebody and they say X, Y, or Z, you should think of me right away and just say, hey, I know a guy that you could talk to, and give him my number. And that's all you have to do. And that's just doing that has really changed things around for me.
Yeah, you will learn, Dylan, anyone who does BNI or networking groups, you'll learn how to become more referable, which, by the way, everything you learn in pro and just being a web designer is going to translate to every area of your life, no matter where your career takes you for years, which is really exciting. I know one thing I learned in my networking group, like the biggest, if I had one piece of advice with networking, it's to not view the people in the group as potential customers, but it's who they know and who's in their network who could be potential customers. And that's the best way to sell, because there's no pressure for you to feel like you need to sell to people right there. You just offer what you do, who you serve, where your expertise is, be referable, and then ask them about, like, in your network, do you know anyone who needs websites? And suddenly they're going to feel much more open to refer you. And by the way, they probably need a website at some point. So indirectly selling with networking groups is gold, because there's low pressure. There's, no hard selling directly. You just offer your advice, look like the expert, and you will get leads from those people and people they know. That's like my biggest takeaway with networking. And Alexia, you've done some in-person networking, right? You're doing a lot of workshop presentations,
Yeah,
which are amazing.
So I was actually in a BNI for my mom's cleaning business back a couple years ago. And so I still have connections, like the guy that I was talking about earlier in the call. Like, I was just thinking about him, and then all of a sudden he's like, hey, can you sub for me at BNI? And then I get a chance to go back into the old BNI group that I was, which is changed dramatically. It changes all the time. But one piece of advice that I would give as somebody who was really shy in going to in-person networking was, it's okay to slip up. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to get up there and be talking in front of people and completely forget what you're saying. Like, a lot of these people, especially in my BNI group, were so supportive of, like, newbies. You know what I mean? Like, because they've all went through the thing where it's like they've gotten up there, they're so, like, nervous and tense, and so they know what the pressure is like, but it just gets easier over time. Like, even public speaking and some things, like getting up there and doing the workshops that I do, I wouldn't have been able to do those things if I hadn't have been in BNI for like a year, because I got used to getting up in front and talking and conversating with strangers to talk about their stuff. So I would say, like, even if you feel pressure and you're an introvert, like, it's okay. And it's okay to mess over your words, just like kind of pause and then restart. And people, it's not as a big deal as you think it is. And I just want to put that out there, because I know a little bit about Dylan's personality, and he's more introverted. So yeah.
Yeah. And that's such a good point. I remember Jeremy, who was a founding member of Pro, he's on Pro currently, but his famous story was he went to a BNI group and was just petrified, introvert, just, like really had to get out of his shell to go there. He sits down and sits next to this gal, and she turns to him and she's petrified, and she's like, it's my first time. What should I expect? I'm so nervous. And he's like, it's my first time. I'm so nervous. That led to, I think it was like a $16,000 group of projects for that one lead that he met right there. They were both like nervous and both first timers. So you just never know. You just never know where, who you're going to meet and how it's going to go down. So hope that helps anyone who's getting into networking, BNI regardless. Yeah. Well, Ben, go ahead, Alexia.
I was going to say, also do their extracurricular activities that aren't just in BNI, like going out for drinks or going out for that stuff. That's where you make real connections, because people see you in, like, not just this. It's kind of like what we did at Pro, like at the ProCon. It's like, hey, when we went to the bar and had like drinks there or whatever, you get to know people in a better way, and you build trust and rapport with people. That's not just getting up there for 30 seconds and telling your thing. So building relationships and connections are worth more in the long run than just trying to get quick sales.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And you know, to your point earlier, Alexia, with Pro, I wanted to say, I really appreciate you sharing the connection piece of Pro and how hard that is to replicate, which is community. And it's interesting because it's one of those things where, like, just like in a networking group, it's hard for us in Pro or BNI to say, like, if you come here, you will meet this person and you will hit it off with this person. It's those kind of organic exchanges that, like, I'm pretty sure these people are going to hit it off, but then when it actually happens, that's where the gold is. So that's the beauty about networking. And just it's a group of people. Anytime there's a group of people, you just never know what's going to happen. But when the magic hits, it's freaking awesome. So,
well,
yeah, guys.
That's because the people at BNI are there explicitly to make money. There's a guy in my BNI group that whenever it's his turn to stand up and say what BNI means to him, he's always like, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money. And then he just kind of sits down, and it's like, oh, that's actually why all of us should be here. And, it's true. You're representing your business, and you go out to the bar and you have drinks or appetizers or whatever. That's different. Like now you're making friends. You're talking about how's the family, what's going on. But when you're in that meeting, you're there to make money.
Yeah.
And everybody's on the same page. That's the nice thing.
Well, guys, speaking of being on the same page, this was awesome. I really appreciate Ben. Thank you so much for popping up. Impromptu, Alexia, huge congrats again. Everyone,
yeah,
give a round of applause for Alexia, who just went full time, and a round of applause for Ben too for being almost 9 months, over 9 months now. So we still got food.
We still got food in the cabinet.
There's still food in the cabinet. Huge win. But yeah, no, I'm super proud and pumped for both of you guys. I might end up repurposing this if you're down with it, because this was such a good chat. If you guys enjoyed this type of thing for the coaching call, let me know, because we're going to do more of this kind of stuff. I want to switch up the coaching calls a little bit, make them more conversational and more like this, a little more impromptu, and just drilling into certain subjects. So I'm really excited to continue to take this to the next level. But yeah, this is great, guys. So super proud of both of you. Thank you for both of your insights on this. So loved it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Josh.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that one, my friend. Again, we do this kind of thing every week in Web Designer Pro in the coaching tier, where you can come up for one-on-one hot seats or little mini group coaching sessions like you heard here today. So I hope to see you in Web Designer Pro. Again, join the community tier, and then you will be notified as soon as coaching spots open up, so you can join in on the fun, get access to these weekly calls, and have 24/7 direct message access to me for personalized coaching. For the show notes for this episode, go to joshhall.co/395. You'll have links there to Ben's website, Alexia's website, and you'll be able to connect with them there. So go to joshhall.co/395 for more. Again, huge thanks to both Ben and Alexia for allowing me to repurpose this for you publicly. I truly, truly, truly hope this helps give you a good idea of what it takes leading up to and afterwards and going full time. So cheers, my friend. And I hope to see you in Web Designer Pro, and I hope to be able to feature you maybe on the podcast as the next success story when you take your web design business full time. Cheers, my friend.